Welcome to a mini bonus episode of Horrible Horror. We watched a Christmas horror story. We watch it so you don't have to, so you know what that means.
Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Enjoy the show. Not really.
Bonus of the Horrible Horror podcast, the podcast, not the movie, where we watch the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. We just wrapped up recording our Christmas sleigh episode, so we're doing this right after it, even though it will be posted later. But so sitting with me again are Chris and Sarah Samples. Aaron's still off in Arizona.
Hello.
Hello.
So the whole point of this is because when I was trying to pick the movie for this week's episode, which turned out to be Christmas Sleigh, I went through like
Good luck.
8-9 other Christmas horror movies, and I came across this one called A Christmas Horror Story, and I watched it, and I was blown away by actually how good this movie
Yes.
really is.
Yes.
Because by the cover of it and what it sounds like, it sounds and looks like it's going to be fucking awful.
We're kind of going in uncharted territory
Yeah.
because this is not actually a horrible movie
No,
by
but it's
any means.
no,
No.
at all. But it
It's
needs,
cray.
It needs
It's
to be
cray. But
Cray cray?
Yeah, it's cray cray.
but
it's
it needs to be
great.
talked about.
Great.
And so we're not. It's going to be a little looser format. We're not going to do what we always do. We're just going to talk about this movie and hope you guys go watch it because it's just really kind of cool.
It's
and
definitely worth it. After Christmas
Totally.
Sleigh,
yeah.
please watch.
Please watch
This
it.
is like your
Horror
palate
story.
cleanser. This
Yes.
is like brings it,
That's a good
brings
one.
you back. One thing I noticed about this movie is it's a little bit of everything. It's a
Yeah.
weird way, kind of like, okay, most people are familiar with the American Horror Story TV show, which is an anthology series.
Right.
And in a way, it's kind of what this movie is. It's like a bunch of different, there's a few different stories, but they all kind of have some kind of link together connection.
4 stories, right? 4 or
Yeah.
5
It's
stories.
like 4 at least.
4 stories, yeah.
But each story is a little different. I think I almost spit on Sarah for some reason. I found.
Sorry.
We're both like, whoa. And so it's got like it has your kind of Japanese horror movie with like with the black family story. It's like a very Japanese-esque, like The Grudge or Ring. At least how I got it.
Really?
Oh,
with-
yeah, okay.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't
It's
think
got
about
your
that. Yeah.
it's got your possession demonic type
Yeah.
story to it. It's got
Yeah.
a little bit of a slasher zombie. I shouldn't say a little bit. It's got zombie slasher
Zombie.
feel to it. There's even a little bit of a small bit of found footage, which I fucking hate, but it's not a big. I was glad that was the smaller part, but it
We've
is
been
there.
through the
But
found
it's not that
footage.
bad, though.
No, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's
No.
actually, yeah.
So there's a little bit of everything here for everybody, and it's done really well. And it features the Shat himself.
Shatner!
William
I know. I was
Shatner
so
is
excited
in
when I
this
saw
movie.
Shatner.
This movie had to have had the biggest budget if he was in it. Because seriously, how much does the Shatner charge?
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Oh man.
I mean, aside from that, I kind of felt like it was sort of like a Tales from the Dark Side. And that's
Or
the only
Tales
thing
from the Crypt, kind of like the
It's
Crypt
the way
Keeper
that
kind of a
everything
movie.
kind of intertwined, and there was separate stories.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of came together.
Because
I
the
thought it
whole
was
time you don't
actually
know.
pretty well done.
You don't know how it all ties
Yeah,
together.
you don't.
Right.
It's there's how the best way to describe it. Okay, the each story it takes place in this town of shit, I wish I remember it. Something down. It's Bailey Down.
It is Bailey Down.
Bailey
Yeah,
Down,
I don't
that's
think
it.
I wrote it down actually.
Which-
Out of all the things.
I dropped the ball on this. I was supposed to do more research for this movie, but I didn't get around to it because I did it, but I didn't have it written down. And but it's so good. Bailey Down, I do know there's a link to it because that's the name of a town in some other movie or TV show that the guy who wrote and directed this movie does. He's trying to link it all together.
Right, that's cool.
And William Shatner plays this DJ,
Uh-huh.
radio DJ
Yeah, which is
of
awesome.
this radio station in Bailey Downs, which he's kind of the connecting factor to all this. You're listening to him do this broadcast on Christmas Eve or Christmas night or something like that. And the story with the black family is that this cop. It links into the possession story with the teenagers
Right.
how do you explain it?
So you have 3 teens.
Yes.
Okay, so
Three to four,
3 to 4 teens.
Well,
You have that are trying to ghost hunt. You
Yeah.
also have a family, a family who ties into that,
Yes.
who are going to go look for a Christmas tree. You have another family who is going to go to the aunt's house. That ties into the teens.
Yes.
Then you have, is that 3? Is that the 3?
And then you have Santa Claus.
Oh, then you
in
have
the North
Santa
Pole.
Claus in the North Pole, which makes no sense because the other 3 kind of tie together
Yeah.
in a way, and you're
It
waiting the whole
opens-
time for
the
it.
movie opens in the North Pole and like
Right.
the CG castle, which looks like something like Game of Thrones or
Yeah.
Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, but it's just kind of badly done because it's CG.
You just see Santa walking and talking to his reindeer.
And he turns around and he's got like this bloody scar across his face and he's owing accents.
He looks all renegade.
These barn doors are shaking and he's like, "Who's there?" And it just cuts away and you don't come back to it for a little while.
And then there's the opening, which was actually cool, like it had like a bloody snowflake.
Yeah,
like the snowflake
the
that
opening
got.
credits are really
The opening,
good.
yeah, Carol of the Bells, like
Yeah.
a really creepy version
it's
of.
so good. And it's like this bloody snowflake flying out. It's really cool. I loved it. I thought it was really good.
I thought it
too.
was good.
So the kids are basically investigating this ghost story of this old school, and where these 2 teens were killed or and
They were found
they're
dead.
found dead. Thank
Well,
you.
it starts out with they're watching this footage from a police
Well,
camera.
police
Like, how did they get that?
evidence
But-
footage. Yeah,
yeah.
How that's the thing. Like we can't let me know.
The
we
one
had it.
girl explains that she got it somehow.
Somehow,
Yeah.
But
But
anyway, it's
that
the black cop.
It's the cop from the other story, the family who was investigating the deaths, the murders, the crime scene, and you see behind like a ghost or something like appear behind him, screams, and he freaks out.
Right.
And the story is, and then he goes on like
Yeah, they
some
explain
back
that,
or
yeah,
leave of absence
Yeah.
for
Right.
stress and all that. So he's taking leave of absence from the force.
and these 3 teens are waiting around for this other girl, who's the girlfriend of
What the boy?
Asian guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't get the names.
Yeah, it doesn't. We're not going to go in that much detail, but it's just really
Right.
so. Their story takes place in the school where they're ghost hunting and trying to figure out for a project. It was a video project. That's where they're filming. It's for some project, and she's looking into the what killed these students. While the black family, they go off to get a Christmas tree with his wife, which they look almost identical. The husband and wife look very similar because they both have like shaved heads. And then their little kid, their son, and they go off to find a Christmas tree. The kid goes missing for a little while. He disappears. He gets lost in the woods, but then they find him in this hollowed out tree,
Right.
and things get creepy from there.
This is really hard to
It is
explain
hard because it's so non-linear, and it
it's so
jumps- it
explained
jumps
because it
around
jumps
so
from
much.
like you see this movie is so crazy because you see an intense scene from each storyline one after the other
Another,
consecutively. So you don't get to get any. It's hard to explain it because it might sound kind of jagged because it's jumping everywhere.
literally
Yeah, it's
all
kind
The
of like
story
it's
is
like an
advancing.
anthology, like,
Yeah.
but it's, again, like maybe Pulp Fiction-esque, where it just jumps from story to story.
That's a good
and
way
then
to
it doesn't
put it.
wrap up to the very end type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So, to me, the best way to describe it is just like take each story section and talk about that particular story, and then move on to another one. So let's just start.
Let's
with
do
the
that.
family. Let's just start with the family and the Christmas tree.
Okay.
Okay, the family and the Christmas tree.
Christmas
Let's do
tree.
that.
Let's
Yeah.
start there. So yeah, they go out to find this Christmas tree, and the son goes missing, but they find him in this hollowed out tree, and
It's very intense. It's really scary. For a parent, it was really scary for me because their kid was missing in the woods.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden in this tree grove, which they were not, it was private property.
there's like no
they were not
trespassing,
supposed to be
anything
on
like
it. Yeah.
So they get the kid, they get the tree back, and as they're getting back in the car, you see this shot of this guy, old man with beard. He's not Santa, but he's on a snowmobile.
Yeah, snowmobile, yeah.
And he's just sitting there watching them as they
Right.
leave. So some time passes, and the kid starts acting really weird. Starts showing really
Real
disturbing
weird.
behavior, not responding to things, just really weird. He's
Shoveling spaghetti in his face.
showing
Yeah,
spaghetti
he's like
nonstop.
breaking things. He won't talk. He also has asthma and won't use his, hasn't used his
He stopped
inhaler.
using his inhaler.
He's
He
just using,
stabs-
he's very creepy.
Yeah, he stabs the dad with the fork for trying to pull the spaghetti away from
Yeah.
him. And so
And Dad's obviously fucked up.
Yeah, he's under stress. So the mom's like already very protective of him because she thinks he's on like a nervous breakdown. And then eventually they get a call. The wife gets a call from the guy on the snowmobile, the old guy saying, is your son acting weird, blah, blah, blah. You need to bring him back here. It's not him.
Yeah, that's
it's
not your son
anymore.
He's a
changeling.
A changeling.
Yeah.
And she's like, whatever, don't call here ever again. She's like, bullshit. But that's when like things really go. The son goes nuts. Like
Well, she starts researching
changelings.
Googles.
Yeah,
Right.
she Googles it.
So it's
So Wikipedia saves the day, basically.
Yeah.
Thank you, internets.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So basically, the changeling son kills the father, and
Sorry, I had to drink
Okay.
that whiskey really quick. But let's talk about when the change. This is all very cool and kind of very creepy because the boy is obviously an evil spirit.
Yeah.
And you kind of see him up on the ceiling.
That's what I'm saying. This
which
is
is
very Japanese, like
Yes.
where like all this like because there's one scene where the father is standing in the foreground, and behind him you see the silhouette of the son, like always
On
like
the
two like
yes.
glowing
Eyes,
eyes,
yes.
and then he appears on the ceiling.
Right.
Like, oh my god, this is like straight up like something you've seen like The Grudge, The Ring.
Well, and the
like
whole
that.
time
And
the
it's very
dad's
well
like,
done.
Dad's
It's really
pounding
done.
booze. He's freaking out. It's been a year since
Yeah.
he was the cop at the school that we
of the
kinda
other
mentioned
story, the
before.
teen story that
Yeah,
we'll
so
talk
So he's
about.
sitting there
yeah.
going
Go
through
down
the
next.
files of the movie, and like his kids walking the ceiling, like stalking him.
Yeah.
And the suspense is really
It's
good.
really good.
Really good.
Oh, can we talk about the little kid? So the mom is sleeping.
Yeah.
Because the mom and dad have now fought because like he actually like goes kind of
He was gonna whip the kid.
he
with
like
the belt.
whips the kid with a belt and the mom gets really crazy and she goes to sleep. And then all of a sudden you kind of see like
The covers
the
move.
kid and the covers moving
Oh,
and
she's like-
she's
he's
kind
like
of
molesting his mom.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
see the little hand come up out of the cover and like grab her breast. And as she wakes up it
It's
slips
gone.
away.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
creepy.
It's creepy.
It's creepy.
It's so well done. So yeah, the kid kills the father. Like you don't really
Chokes
see
him with the belt.
Yeah, you don't see how
yeah.
you see the aftermath. You see him up against the Christmas tree in the corner. He's got the belt wrapped around his neck, and he's got his hand cut off, for some reason, and he's just dead. So the mom finds the body,
Yeah.
and so she grabs the bat. The
Well,
kid
at which
attack-
point she calls.
She goes in the bathroom and calls the caretaker, the guy from the snowmobile.
Yeah.
Back.
And she's like, you have to bring him back here, but you can't let him know he's coming. Or, you know.
Right.
He senses things.
Yeah. So they end up. There's a fight, a small little struggle for a little bit, but they
She ends up whacking her kid in the head with a bat.
puts
Oh
him in a
shit!
bag.
Yeah, that definitely happens.
Yeah,
She
hits
hits him with a
baseball
bat. Yeah.
She puts him in a big old bag and drags him off to the grove, where she gets there and she
has her husband's gun.
is it her gun or his gun? Because the old man
Either way,
shows up. With
I
like
just
a shotgun
assumed.
or
I just
something.
assumed that he was.
No, she shows
She's
up
up
with her
with a
husband's gun.
gun.
Okay, her husband's
because
gun.
the gun was like laying next to him because he had it while he was drinking.
That's right.
So
thank
she
you.
shows up in the grove with the kid in a sack with the gun and is like, "Give me my son," and he's like, "Thank you for bringing my little
Your changeling
changeling back."
It turned out that this guy
I take
was
care
actually-
of these
yeah,
guys.
the
I make sure that
caretaker
nothing
of
bad
these-
happens.
Which again, why the no trespassing things?
Right.
It turns out that it's like a demon that possessed the kid's body.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
demon that's a demon that possesses kids' bodies.
And there's multiple demons, and he keeps them under
They're all-
wraps. They're
Yeah,
afraid of him.
Makes,
type
it makes
thing.
so they all live in this tree, and like Keebler elves or something.
Right, kind of.
kind of.
Yeah.
The zombie Keeblers. Ah! We'll get to
Like
that.
Demons, yeah.
So, somehow I forget exactly how.
There's
but
some sort of a
she
struggle.
Freaks out. She struggles. She ends up shooting the caretaker,
Right.
and he dies. And then the
She-
changeling like
She pleads with.
morphs. Like you actually see it like the demon.
Well, when he comes out of the bag, he's a
the demon.
Oh, that's
and
right.
the son is not there, and she asked for the son, and they have this confrontation. She said, he's like, "Well, I can't help you because whatever," and then
That's
she
right.
shoots him, and then the changeling goes back into the tree that he had come out of.
Yes.
And what comes out is her like
Actual
underwear,
son.
Yeah, the
underwear,
kid is
actual
just in
son.
underwear
It was
and
actually her
tank top.
son.
Yeah.
So
And you
the
see
demons
them
take
run
pity
away.
on her and give her a kid
Yeah,
back.
and,
And-
he's
yeah.
like, "Mommy, what happened?" So
Right.
they can
The demons are happy that she killed their
Yeah.
Is that what you
caretaker.
got?
That's
Because
what I got
you
out
could
of
tell,
it.
he goes, I know how to keep him in line. Like he
Yeah.
was
'Cause
like,
he's like kicking it and
So maybe it's
beating
like
it
she
and,
set them free, so here's
Exactly.
now we're free.
Exactly.
That could have been it.
Yeah.
So anyway, she gets
So
the
then
kid,
she's
they
gone.
drive off, and that's the end of their
but where
story.
the hell are they gonna go? Because seriously, her
Exactly.
husband is dead in the house. What's she gonna
That's
say
exactly
about
what I thought.
that?
Like, how is she going to explain this away? Like,
Right.
Well,
you're done. Like,
Right.
Sorry,
there's
you're
no
an
way to
African
explain
American woman. They're
But that's
gonna
where it
like
comes
you're
into
going
where I
to jail.
felt like a Tales from the Crypt or
This is
like
terrible.
a Tales from the Dark Side type thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like these little stories.
Yeah.
And I thought it was. No.
So that story wraps up, and in between each of these stories, you get one story next, but you each one is separated by scenes from the North Pole story with Santa Claus,
Right.
Mrs. Claus, and his elves.
It's like bam,
But
bam.
we're going to
bam,
cover
it
that.
moves.
Like I said, we're going to cover each story as a whole, so we're not going to go back and forth. But just keep in mind that in between each story, you get segments of the other one.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into the kids at the school now,
Okay.
because that kind of ties in more with the black father, the family, the dad, the cop.
Yeah.
Well, it starts with them in the car.
Yeah.
And they're watching the police footage of the black cop going to the school originally investigating these murders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're watching this police footage and they see all this crazy shit happen with the one kid nailed to the wall,
Yes.
his neck's broken, and written on the wall is
It's a biblical verse about he who shall bear the child, or someone will bearing a child or
Son.
something.
For
Son.
unto us a son is given. No, for unto us a child is born.
Right.
For unto us a son is given. Isaiah 9:6
Thank you. That's it. There you
talks
go.
of the birth of Jesus.
There we go. Sarah has her notebook. She's prepared.
Hey.
So, so
They're
that's written on
sitting
the
around,
wall.
they're
next
sitting
to
around
her
in
or
a
something.
car and they're waiting for the Asian guy's girlfriend to show up.
Yeah.
And she shows up with the keys to the school. She says, these keys will open any door in the school for you.
Yeah.
So they end up going to the school, and they go to this restricted area down in the basement.
Oh, that's what ties the
Yeah.
story, because the girl who shows up with the keys is the daughter of the family that goes to visit.
That goes
the
to
aunt.
the
Exactly.
aunt.
So
yeah.
that ties that
Exactly.
story
that ties
together.
those
Right.
three
Okay.
together.
So again, we're doing some good work, because then we'll cover
Yeah.
that story.
Right.
All right.
So then they get to the school, and they go to the restricted area. And as they're walking down in the basement, the one girl. So there's two guys and
Two guys and a girl.
Yeah.
And the girl reveals that the place actually used to be a.
It used to be a
What are
place
the
like the
hospitals
so the
where-
school
It was where
the
they
school was
said
a
unwedded
Catholic.
mothers
Yeah.
who were pregnant because
Yeah.
we have to keep them outside or something. 'Cause they
Right.
The
can't be-
school has been around forever. It's a Catholic
Hundreds of years
school.
or
It's been
something.
around for hundreds of years. And the basement portion that they were in was an area where they used to keep single mothers
Pregnant, unwed mothers.
because they didn't want them to see. And then
whores.
yeah, the whores.
and they give
Aw.
abortions too.
Yeah. Well, what happened was
necessarily
that one
abortions,
girl, the
still
girl
one.
that is supposedly haunting the space, aborted her own baby.
Yes. And she died.
And
he
died.
caused her-
yeah,
he
and it was
caused
this
her death.
huge thing,
But
scandal.
there's scenes like where they see visions of like a nun giving an abortion to somebody, or at least
Doing
Because they
horrible
like to
things,
stir up
I
yeah.
didn't think of it that way. I thought that
or maybe
actually,
examining her or something. I don't
she
know.
was delivering a baby, is what I thought.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I could have
Yeah.
been any of those things. So yeah,
Evil. It's very evil down there.
Yeah.
Obviously, people have died down there.
Mm-hmm.
There has a lot of scary, spooky history, and that's why they're there. That's why
exactly.
they're there.
That's what it goes on.
Yeah.
And so throughout this whole thing, this is where you get a little bit of found footage.
Right.
Footage, and which isn't over the top, because I started like, oh god, please don't go this route, but it's not. They keep it in line. They keep it, close to get. It works out well. It's fine. But this was a hard story to discuss, because a lot of this creepy things start
The
happening.
way I got it is that the demon, not the demon, but the ghost
The spirit
is trying to find somebody to actually
impregnate.
birth
To
her
birth
son.
the-
Yes, they want birth the son.
So there's one girl down there and two dudes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
The ghost possesses
the
girl.
Yes.
And because they get trapped on there. Of course, the ghost causes all the locks to not open, so
Right.
they're stuck in this basement,
It's freezing.
and it's freezing. So they end up they're trying to wait it out till morning or whatever,
Right.
And so they all fall asleep. The girl gets possessed. She gets the Asian guy who's dating the other girl, and she pulls him aside to another room and tries to seduce him. And he actually like, dude, this isn't gonna happen. I have a girlfriend. Are you okay? And so he goes to walk away.
So the ghost gets pissed
The girl gets pissed and basically kills him.
and summons a cross
Crucifix off the wall.
off the wall
Rips it off the wall like
with her mind and impales the dude in
power.
the head. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
with
what happens.
And then she goes to the girlfriend's actual boyfriend, who's still asleep on the floor. And
We don't know if that's her boyfriend, but I mean,
that's what I thought it was.
well, I mean, they're just teenagers. I think there's like a lot of like sexual tension as far
Yeah.
as like teens go, and
That's
like
true.
I got the
you know-
gist that the
I
dude
thought
liked
it was-
the girl, but that
Yeah.
they weren't really together.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah.
You know
There
what I
was
mean?
something there. Anyway, she wakes up this guy, and they
seduces him
seduces
completely.
and she ends up having sex with this guy on a chair, and he
And not only
basically comes and he
I
busts
made this
his
comment while I watched this movie because all she does is like unzip his fly and
Ouch.
pulls out his shaft, right? And so
Ouch.
there's a zipper there.
yeah, not pleasant.
No,
But
it can't be pleasant for either party.
No, but she's possessed. She probably doesn't care. But the kid's probably, I'm guessing, a virgin. He probably doesn't care because like he's just happy to be getting it regardless.
Because I think he actually liked her, but she didn't
Yeah.
think of him that way either way.
I think that maybe that's what it is. So they have sex, and as soon as the sex is over, he impregnates her basically.
Right.
She comes
snaps
back.
out.
She-
Possession's
yeah.
over, and she's
What
like,
happened?
What'd you
What
do?
did you do to me? And he's like, me? What did you do to me?
Right.
And so that's when things get weird because they go off and find the body of the other guy that the ghost just killed.
Right.
Which was in the room where the
other
killings
kids were
happened.
happening
Where
like
the
1
girl-
year ago.
where, like the girl
Yeah.
and the cops saw all
Yeah.
the main room. So in that room, the ghost then like attacks.
Appears.
Yeah, basically appears.
She
and
appears
attacks
with like a dead baby,
baby
in her
hand.
arms.
Yeah,
Oh,
bloody
God.
fetus in her arm. And the guy gets like flung up against the wall, like arms ready
Yeah.
to go, and he's like crucified up against this wall, and he's
Sticks
like
him-
shaking. He's like like he can't move, but he's pinned against the wall and can't move. But at the same time, he's like you can see him trembling.
Yeah.
And basically, like the force of her mind or will or something basically snaps his neck.
Yeah.
and like,
And he's done.
seizures.
So it turns out that the ghost is pissed at all dudes.
apparently,
You
Yeah.
know?
well, no, because I think he was trying to. Because at this point, it's revealed that the ghost just wants the baby to be born, and
right.
he's
Yeah.
trying to like convince the girl, "Don't have anything to do with this. You can't do this," or
Yeah,
something
you
like
had-
that.
yeah,
the
he's
ghost's
very
"Fuck
like,
you, I'm killing you.
I didn't
Don't
do
listen to
this.
him."
Yeah.
That I took it as that this ghost was in this place because she was essentially
She was a scorned woman. She shouldn't have been there. You know, it's
I feel like
victim
she
of
was
the
pissed
times.
at the boy that originally impregnated her, so she's like
Probably.
punishing the male.
that could have been it. That
You know
could
what
have
I
been.
mean?
But anyway, so the boy dies. She walks up to the girl, basically puts her hand on the girl's stomach, and is like, "Power, you're pregnant." Boom.
You're free to go.
You're free to go.
essentially.
And then she just walks
she just
out.
walks out.
What is she, and again, what is she gonna do?
Was she gonna
What are you gonna do? You're like
You're not pregnant and
you're
you
like
have
a
two
15-year-old
Prime suspect of
teenage
two
white girl. What are
murders.
you gonna do? And there's all these kids murdered around you.
Yeah.
And what are you gonna say? Like, oh, now I have his baby and I'm immaculately.
Yeah.
What? What?
What exactly? So yeah,
This
so,
at this point too in the story, like when this story kind of started to wrap up, I really didn't know how it fit with anything else. Like
There's-
it was
I was
really
reading some,
kind of
like-
confusing. Like we got to the end and I was like, how is this gonna work
yeah,
out
like
to where
they
this
don't
fits
necessarily
into
the endings
everything?
don't necessarily wrap up together. It's just like how
No.
the characters somehow like,
Intertwined.
Each character
It
intertwined.
intertwines.
But the wrapping up,
But you don't
matter.
really realize that until the very end, which
Yeah.
is great about it, which is one
Right.
of the things that's really
Yeah,
great.
That's what
ending's
keeps you in your
awesome.
seat. right?
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Let's keep in mind, like I said, we talked about how in between each story you get the shots of the North Pole and
Shat-
Santa.
oh.
But that's what I'm saying.
Shatner,
in between,
yeah.
you have Shatner who is DJing.
He's like the narrator
he's like he basically
or the
he's-
crypt keeper.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. And
Right.
he's sitting in his DJ
And-
booth and he's talking to Bailey Downs or wherever the town is.
Yeah.
And throughout the movie, you start hearing him saying weird things start happening. He's like, and he starts saying like, "Oh, don't go to the mall." You know, the cops are shutting down the mall. And
He keeps talking about the mall, and okay, so
But they
He
don't
also
explain why.
shouts out. He also shouts out.
to Norman. Okay, so Norman is this guy who is like the weather guy or something who works in the station with him. And in the beginning, you see these shots, and he's like, Norman's going to go down to the food drive at the mall, blah, blah, blah. And Norman puts up this sign against the window that says, fuck Christmas.
Christmas.
And he's like, oh, Norman, what's your problem? Blah, 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 and plays it off.
oh my god!
And so this,
oh my god, that's right.
yes.
I
So
didn't even-
this,
I forgot about Norman.
this is very important. So Norman
important.
supposedly goes to the mall, and like we don't know what happens to him, but
totally
you keep
forgot
feeling
about
that you
the
get this
Letterman
like
moment.
interaction because you keep getting William Shatner come back, and William Shatner is then at this point like saying things about it, like stay away from the mall, don't go to the mall.
Well, they
Yada
make it
yada
sound
yada.
like it's overcrowded with shoppers. You don't really know why.
Yeah,
That's
you don't know
what
what's
I
going
got.
on, but also William Shatner is drinking
He's
spiked
drinking.
eggnog
Yes.
and also rum, and he keeps drinking and drinking,
And he's
and it
getting
gets
drunker
more
and
and more intense as you segue from these very intense parts of
Speaking
these
of that segue,
shows.
we're going
Yeah.
into the family that's on the trip to see their aunt now.
Yes.
And we already established that the daughter of that family knows the girl from the previous story. But it's also note that this is like William Shatner's son and his granddaughter. Because he has a Christmas card of them in his booth with the picture of that family on there. And, and
Oh my God, that's right.
so this family is his, like the son or the wife, the husband or wife is his either son or daughter, and this is his granddaughter.
That's amazing because I did not put all that together, but you are totally right.
So they're driving up to see their weird aunt, and who's like just in this mansion,
Right.
and the father has issues with like money issues with his business and all that, and the wife and him are fighting. It's just kind of a dysfunctional family, and they get to
They have a teenage daughter,
yeah.
and then like a preteen son.
Oh, I forgot about the son.
Yeah, the son is important.
Yeah. So they get to the aunt's house and they talk, they're trying to get, I think he's trying to get money out of her or something, I think, for his business.
Yeah.
And there's a caretaker, I think, or groundskeeper or something that shows up. And there's these little statues of Santa and Krampus, these little statuettes.
Right.
And he's telling a story about Krampus or something like that.
So for people that don't know about Krampus, let's tell them what Krampus is. Because
ahead.
I
Yeah.
knew a little bit about Krampus, but I kind of had to look him up. So Krampus, oh man, I have like all kinds of notes
He's
about him.
basically the evil version of Santa.
He's like the anti-Santa,
Like, if
like
you're
the
not good-
Antichrist.
Yeah, he's the one who comes and like instead of giving presents, he like drags evil kids away into
Yeah.
like hell or something like that.
Yeah, and then there's like something called Krampusnacht.
Yeah, a
Which
lot of
is
German,
like-
a lot of
yeah,
German
Krampusnacht.
and, North Norwegian.
Yeah,
type.
which is what Santa Claus is.
Yeah.
It's that kind of it. So it's all that folklore. But
Mm-hmm.
so Krampusnacht, where they punish children who have misbehaved. He
Yes.
is the evil punisher of children
That is
and
it.
takes children away and all of that. So that is definitely something that is what ties this story
into the Santa
into
story.
the Santa story.
Yep. And so anyway, the groundskeeper, caretaker, whatever, he's talking to the son about this, and the son, he's with the statue cram. He's like, "Hey, don't touch that," and the son's like, "Fuck you!" Just shoves it off the table and it breaks.
Because the boy is a shit.
Yeah,
he is a
he's a
shithead.
shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that about kids. I mean,
He is.
he's an angel.
And so the grand's like, "You should have done that. Krampus is gonna come get you." Blah blah blah.
Right.
And so anyway, long story, we'll skip ahead, and the family doesn't get what they want from the aunt. She kind of shoos them away. They leave, and of course, on the way home, car breaks down.
Right.
Out in the middle.
Well,
of nowhere.
when they're driving home, something white and crazy
That's
like
right.
runs in front of their car, and he kind of like spins out, and it's a really nice car. So you would think
it's like a
that like
Cherokee
you
SUV
know,
or something
yeah,
like
it's
that,
like
Jeep Cherokee.
you would think that it would be able to have made
Four-wheel
it.
drive.
Yeah, but no,
right,
it
yeah,
didn't.
because you basically see a flash like Krampus like dash across
Right,
the road,
right.
this white thing with horns, and so yeah, they get stuck in the snow and they get out, and they're walking through the woods and the snowy woods, and I'm gonna lose some here what exactly happened. So basically, they get attacked from out of the darkness by like, this hook, like basically a meat hook on a chain. It just goes flinging out, and it gets the father first, I believe. Right? Am I correct on that?
No, yes, it does. It gets the father
Like
first.
in the gut or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
like kind of catches him and kind of lets him go. So you see this, like you hear the sound of the chain, like whoosh, like get him.
Yeah.
And then and he goes away, and then the family kind of runs after him in the woods, and then
Yes.
they find
him. And he's bloody,
Yeah.
bleeding from like the torso.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god, what happened? And then the son gets hooked, I believe, and dragged away.
Yeah, then they're all hanging out. They're all kind of trying to figure out what to do, and the son is being horrible,
Yeah.
of course. And the wife is pretty horrible too. And he gets totally hooked and dragged completely away.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
like you don't
he's
see
gone.
him again.
He's dragged.
Yeah.
So at least the wife the mother and the daughter, and they
Yeah.
run to this old church. They
Yes.
find out middle of nowhere.
They pick up the dad and they all go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They did have that.
Yeah.
They get into the church, and I can't believe I can't remember. It's been a few days since I watched this, but it's really fucking good. Anyway, shit happens there. Let's just skip it because I can't remember. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. The father dies, and the mother, she ends up basically, I think, sacrificing herself for the daughter to get away.
Yeah,
Because
so
Krampus comes in, and she's like, run, run, run. And she tries to basically buy the daughter time to get away. And she
Yes.
dies.
So they all go into this church, and the dad's like, maybe he can't get us because if this really is Krampus, with the kid was telling the kid, like the whole story comes out about what Krampus
they
is.
think Krampus is like a
maybe we
vampire
should,
or something.
maybe we should confess our sins. We're in a church, and then
That's right, it is, yeah.
we'll be saved. So they all start confessing stuff to each other,
And
and
this
then
was-
all,
yeah.
and then you think, oh my God, you have this moment where you're like, oh, they're going to be saved. Well, no,
Nope.
no, they're not, because then the dad gets totally effed up in the church. He's in the church. They're in a confessional booth.
Yeah, they're hiding.
Yeah,
in the
they're
confessional
hiding.
booth.
So
Yeah. So anyway, the daughter gets out, and she makes it back to the aunt's house. So she makes it back to the aunt's house, and she's banging on the door, and she's like, no, they won't let her in. She's like, I know you're in there, but no, she gets let me in,
Yeah.
and she doesn't. I don't remember how she gets in. She breaks a window or breaks the door down or something. She gets back into the
Yeah.
house, and she's in there, and she confronts the aunt. And she's like,
who's trying to be kind to her, actually, like
she's-
really kind at this
who was
point.
a complete bitch to the family.
Yeah, she
earlier.
was horrible, which obviously understandable that she was such a bitch to them.
Yeah, it's an awful family.
Yeah, they really are an awful family. And that's the other thing. Like, they are really terrible. We did not talk about that they are like a really terrible family.
No.
The father is a swindler. The daughter steals things. The son likes to kill animals, and the wife
That's
just
right.
hates
That's
life
right. That's the
and
confession of the
expects
son.
everything. Yeah. So we didn't talk about that because they're really
Leave
terrible.
some up for you guys. You gotta watch the movie. So, but anyway, the aunt, basically is like trying to be all nice, and all of a sudden the daughter's like, "Wait, what's going on here?" And she's like, basically, it's revealed that the aunt knew what was happening, like knew Krampus and all this stuff was going on, and
She knew about the legend, and
legend
that like
Krampus.
something evil could happen, and like Krampus could take over
Yeah,
her
it's-
her
Krampus is like-
her caretaker or whatever it was.
kind of like a possession. He's not just one entity, like one Krampus for all, like end all be all. Apparently, Krampus is like
A demon kind of a thing.
entity that
Yeah.
if you allow it, if you have evil thoughts or negativity around Christmas, his demon spirit like takes over your body, and that person turns into Krampus.
Yeah.
But Krampus can never really be killed because he
Yeah.
body hops, he body jumps.
He kind of looks like a white version, like totally white albino type
Wendigo,
version of
me.
what is that movie with Tom Cruise?
Labyrinth.
No, not Labyrinth.
Legend. Labyrinth
like
is-
the evil
yeah,
demon
different.
in Legend.
It was in hell. Yeah.
Totally the
A smaller version, the horn
like
smaller, but yes.
like a winter version.
Yeah,
Like-
maybe like the Wendigo, how you
Yeah,
want to pronounce
yeah.
it. So the girl's like, you knew this whole time, and she's like, and Aunt's like, no, calm down. She's like, no, I know what I'm doing, and she basically allows Krampus to possess her,
Yeah.
and she turns into Krampus.
She turns into Krampus.
and the camera goes to an exterior shot of the mansion, and you just hear Krampus just killing the aunt, just slaughtering her, and
It's pretty cool.
it's pretty fucking awesome. And Chris is now back. He had to step away from it, but he's back.
sorry. Thank you.
Welcome back, Chris.
Ah, hey.
So that wraps up the third of the four stories. Now we get to the last story, which is by far the craziest,
The
coolest of them all.
best
It's not
story.
as scary, but it's just fucking
The best.
awesome. It's
No.
so cool.
My
It's
favorite
yeah.
by far.
So this one revolves on Santa Claus in the North Pole.
But a renegade Santa
He's
at
not-
best.
Yeah, he's not your traditional Santa. It's a pretty cool take on Santa.
I like the the way
It's a
that
really
they.
No, I
neat
really
take on
like it.
He's not
I
your
just-
jolly
yeah.
fat man. All ha ha ha. He's
He has long hair, which is kind of like braided.
He
Some of
looks
it's
older,
braided.
but he's not.
For those
fat.
of you
Renegade.
who dared watch Santa's Sleigh and listen to our Santa's Sleigh episode, it's similar
Thank
to
you.
the Bill Goldberg version of Santa in that he's not your traditional mall Santa, what you see now. He's a little more Nordic, or he's just
Nordic
it's
is a good
very
word.
cool
Nordic is
Santa.
a good description for him.
So
yeah.
he's in North Pole. He's with his elves, and Mrs. Claus is there. And she brings in like cookies for the elves. Like, hey, everybody loves my cookies. And the elves' names
Everyone loves my cookies.
their names are like the fucking
Shiny and
dwarves from Snow White. They're like
Right.
Did you
shiny
notice
and
she's-
sparkly and smiley and whoever.
She also looks like an 80s supermodel. She
does.
does not like your stereotypical.
She's not like
look
gray-haired
like Mrs. Claus.
She's blonde. She's probably in her 40s or 50s.
but an 80s supermodel in
Nowadays.
But
totally agree.
But that's
a great
exactly
way to explain that.
what she was.
so Cindy Crawford, but
Yeah,
You know?
only blonde. And so one of the elves, Smiley or
Shiny.
shiny, thank you. He's like, I don't, everybody else is eating the cookies. She's like, I don't really want cookies. She's like, why? You love my cookies. I don't want a cookie. But you love me. He's like, I don't want your fucking cookies, bitch.
Right.
They're like, what?
everyone's like, what?
She's like, Shiny, what's wrong? Or whatever his name is.
Right.
It's a-
Sparkles.
And immediately, like, Santa's like, ooh, fuck.
But, yeah, it's like, wait a minute, something's not right here. And
I wrote some notes on this, which are totally a cluster. I mean, they are crazy. But I did write, the elves are all becoming the Walking Dead. Yes. Hide Martha. Shiny is risen from the dead.
well, spoilers, right? We didn't get the elves.
I'm sorry,
become-
spoilers. But
Yeah, it's basically they become zombie elves. So this whole story is Santa Claus fighting zombie elves.
Yes.
Just sink your teeth into that and enjoy that thought in your head.
Yes.
And Santa
'Cause
is
it's
a
fantastic.
badass in this. He's not because he's got this long metal staff that he sharpens, and
Yeah.
he's like a fucking ninja with this thing.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
It's like
awesome.
he knows what's happening. Like he knows that the elves can become infected, and that
Because all the elves are like, elves can't die. They're supposed to be. They all
Elves
think they're
can't
immortal.
die,
They can't die. It's
yeah.
like, no, elves can't die. But you can tell, like, oh yeah, you guys are fucked.
Yeah.
He's like,
Right.
like he knows what's going on because he makes a Krampus comment about Krampus. He's like, unless it's him.
Yeah, yeah. they
You
just-
know,
that's
like
just
he's
it.
like ready
Right.
for Krampus.
So the whole time, like with this back and forth shit, you're thinking, well, this Krampus has to somehow
Tie into Santa.
tie into this
Yeah.
Santa thing.
Yeah.
Because again, I would say that the cover for this, the movie, the poster cover, or if you find it we found it on Amazon.
Yes.
The cover is a show. It's like Krampus fighting Santa. That's what you keep waiting for.
Right.
So through this whole story, Santa's fighting off zombie elves left and right.
elves.
They all get infected.
Yeah.
They're all coming in, and he's killing them in really cool, badass ways.
Right.
With the staff. He's
At
chopping
one
off
point-
heads. He's chopping off.
At one point, he grabs a severed elf head and kills another elf
He just starts beating him with it.
with
Yeah.
said head.
Bam, bam.
Yeah, he's cut off. I mean, it's fucking
Awesome.
awesome. It's so
By
much
far
fun
the
to
best.
watch.
It's
He's
by
a
far the best.
badass ninja,
Yeah.
like you said.
So he's finally killed all the elves. Mrs. Claus, she dies too. She gets bit. She gets affected. She gets killed. I think he kills her too.
yes, he ends up killing her. Yeah.
So he puts her out of her misery. And so he's going into like his stables where the reindeer are. He's like, oh, Donner, oh, you guys are so loyal to it, blah, blah, blah. And that's when you start hearing the walls are shaking,
Right.
lights flash from behind the door. He's like, who's there? Blah,
We've
blah,
come
blah.
full circle
We've
now.
come
from
full
the-
circle.
Come
now.
first, yeah.
And
Whoa.
so now the doors burst open and it's this white light. And Santa is fighting Krampus.
Krampus.
Is
Here
there.
comes the
Here
Krampus.
comes Krampus. They're
Finally
showing
the
down.
showdown.
They start fighting it out. And Santa gets the upper hand. And he's about to kill him. And you hear Krampus say, don't kill me, Norman. Don't kill me. Don't kill
Yeah.
me, Norman. Don't kill me, Norman.
All of a sudden, in like a very weak voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now it shifts. Now we're not in the North Pole. Now we are standing in your average mall.
You're in a mall.
And
Oh, no.
Now Norman from earlier in a
F
Santa
Christmas,
suit, who is
Norman.
basically
From
a
the
mall
Shat show,
Santa.
yeah.
From William Shatner's Weatherman in his mall Santa suit, is standing over like the mall manager who's like on the ground. He's about to kill him. He's like, "Don't kill me, Norman! Don't kill me!" And you look around, and there's like reindeer knocked. The Christmas displays are all knocked over. And you start getting flashbacks of like the elf scene to like what really happened, and you see Norman
The
like,
Martha scene to what really
oh
happened.
god, and like
no.
you see like him like killing like the teenage girls who are dressed like the elves,
Oh my
like,
God.
the mall elves, you know, are like hiding behind like kiosks. And he's
He went
killing
crazy.
them.
Norman
Yeah.
Norman went crazy. He
Norman-
went to
the
the
whole
mall
thing
and went ape shit.
Is Norman
thinking
who went
that-
crazy.
yeah.
So the entire time with the Santa,
Which-
it's actually Norman.
And then when the bright lights bust open, there's cops there. And he's like, "Don't move!" And he's like, and he's still seeing like Krampus' eyes.
Yeah.
They shoot him. He's like, he's going to come at him again. They shoot him again. And he finally falls down dead.
Done.
And it keeps going back and forth between Norman and then the Santa.
Santa.
And Santa's all bloody and he's on his knees and then he dies, and that's basically it. And then it wraps up, and that explains why William Shatner was giving reports saying, "Don't go to the mall.
Right.
Stay away from the mall. The cops have closed it down." And I'm thinking, it's because of crazy shoppers. Like, no, it's because this
Norman's
fucking man
down there
is on a
going
killing spree.
insane.
It's a fucking. It blew my
And it
mind.
makes sense
when I
as
saw
to
that
why
ending.
he's drinking and he's getting drunk in the studio and he's very upset because you like see him doing this and you're like, what's going on? Because he's talking about how Christmas is wonderful.
Yeah, he
and
loves
I mean,
Christmas.
he loves Christmas. Everything's decked out and he keeps putting on Christmas records, but then he's getting drunk and you can see like there's some despair there. So there's like this darkness over everything that he's putting out, and you can't pull it together until that last aha moment, and then you're like, oh my gosh.
I brought it together when he pulled out that Christmas card in the year before.
See, and I didn't catch that with the family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was the grandpa.
Yeah, we covered that while you were
sorry,
away.
sorry, guys.
No, but that's
No.
interesting because I didn't catch that at all.
And
So
they show scenes like Norman getting in his Santa suit. And he's like, fuck. He's just going crazy in the bathroom. And they show another sign where it says, like, fuck Christmas, that sign.
Right.
And it all comes together. And it blew my mind.
I know. I did not see that one coming.
I did not.
All.
And normal, all these movies, like, you see it coming. Oh, you can't figure out. This one totally caught me off guard. It is fucking awesome.
The
That's
layers of this
Yeah.
movie. And it doesn't all come together until
the very
end.
end.
Spoilers, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this.
So,
Right.
it's so good.
It's so good.
It's got a little bit of every. If you no matter what kind of horror movie you like, it's got a little bit of that in there for you.
Like
It's
normally
so
when we
good.
say so bad it's scary, actually
It's so bad it's good. This is just so
bad
good.
it's good.
This
It's
is
so
good.
good. Well, I mean, the production quality of the when you watch.
That's
So
why I
we
didn't
watch
want to do this on
Christmas
a regular episode. Like this had
Right.
to be talked about, but because it's not
Agreed.
so bad it's good. It's not so bad. It's just good. And you wouldn't think that if just by looking at it.
Well,
It's
we
so
watched
good.
Christmas Sleigh before this, which was definitely so bad. And the quality, the production quality of this
It's
was
so good.
awesome. I mean, it was very good.
Fantastic.
It was very
I'm
well
glad you
done.
watched this one second.
The
Because if you
script
watched
was
this one
done.
first, and then the other one, I think it would have been really hard for you to even watch the second
Oh my
one.
god,
yeah.
yeah.
You have to watch the shitty one
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, yeah.
It
either
worked
way.
out perfectly.
Yeah,
However, this is a really great movie that I feel like any horror fan
Yeah.
should definitely
You have to watch it.
take a look.
If you
Actually,
haven't said it
yeah.
right, you find it on Amazon. If you listen to this, go watch the movie. Although we probably just ruined it all for you, but it doesn't matter because you still watch it. It's still fucking awesome.
Well, because we rambled so much,
Yeah.
I feel like throughout this
Make
whole
sure we left
because
that out.
it's
Just
so
watching
crazy.
Santa kill and zombie elves is amazing on its
Oh
own.
my god. You want to talk about favorite kill? My favorite kill was every single elf kill because they were so good and hilarious. There's one scene where like Santa gets in an elevator, which is
Yes!
obviously, well, I won't say it, but Santa gets in an elevator and all of these
The
elves
zombies
start,
rushing
they
him.
start rushing him into the elevator, and you don't know what happens, and he gets off on another floor and just like
The
steps
door's
over
open.
elf bodies.
Yeah, the
and
door's
he's
open
like,
and just bloody elf bodies
Yeah.
all over. And he just
Oh, it's
steps over them.
awesome. Just
And
do
there's
it.
the one where
Just
he's got
watch
like
it.
the elf impaled on his staff, like up in the ceiling. It's like pointed. It's so good.
So
Again,
good.
I said he picks up an elf head, like a severed elf head, and starts killing another elf,
Beating
the skull in with this. Oh god!
So yes,
It keeps you guessing the whole time. What?
so
How does
good.
this tie together? How does this work?
So
and
good.
then it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. We said we're just gonna try to keep this short. It's a little longer than we wanted it to be, but fuck it, it's
Sorry,
so
guys.
good.
Sorry
so
if it
good.
was hard.
Go. We all suggest it. Unanimous. Go watch this movie for the holidays.
Absolutely.
Add it to your collection. So good.
I'm actually thinking about putting it on my list of
Of Christmas movies.
Christmas
Yeah.
movies.
I would watch this every year.
I would
I'll
watch this every year
with
too.
you.
I would
And
watch,
you.
Yeah, we should new holiday tradition.
Guys,
we have to do it.
We
now.
just started a new tradition.
You heard it here
we
first.
just
folks.
started.
New tradition started. Yes. All right. Again, Sarah, Chris, thank you for joining us on this
Hey,
second
thanks for having
bonus
us again.
episode.
Thank you.
We'll be back later for our Christmas episode, day after Christmas. No spoilers. The movie we are doing is the 80s cult classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Go watch it.
Yes.
Be prepared.
Nice.
I'm gonna do it.
We'll be back in a week. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Go kill some fucking zombie elves. Have fun. We're out.
Jingles.
Later.